Let's shift gears and talk about the housing crisis now, something we all see and feel the impacts of every single day. That being said, data tied to this crisis can be hard to come by, especially since COVID hit, which is why we think this piece is worth your time. The headline in the Oregonian over the weekend: false promises. 75% of unsheltered Portlanders contacted by a housing worker never heard back. It is a subscriber exclusive, so if you hit that paywall, maybe consider buying a subscription. But the gist here is that the Oregonian partnered with staff at Street Roots, and they surveyed 300 people living on the streets of Multnomah County. Hats off to them. That is huge. And among their key findings, 66% said they had never been approached by an outreach worker who officials say are out every day getting people into housing. And most of those who had been approached only had one meeting. 75% of that group said after that one meeting, the worker never got back in touch. Earlier, I talked to the reporter who spearheaded this project, Nicole Hayden.
Okay, so Nicole Hayden joining me now. Nicole is the homelessness reporter, as we said, at the Oregonian. Again, fantastic job on this piece. Can we just ask you at first about how the idea for this came to be, and especially for, a survey on this scale? Why did you all want to do this?
We first wanted to take a stab at this project because we were finding discrepancies between what city and county officials were telling us with what people living on the street were telling us.
Yeah, and just to kind of highlight then, we'll just dive into the headline statistics of your piece. It was 66% of the unsheltered people that you spoke to said they had never been approached by a housing caseworker, and of those who had been approached, 75% of them were never contacted again. So basically their case kind of died on the spot after that first point of contact. Based on your reporting, is that in line with what you expected? And either way, just seeing those hard numbers, how did that strike you?
It is in line with what we were expecting. I think the second point of contact, I wasn't expecting the 75%. I was expecting something lower than that. So that was a bit alarming because that means people were approached by a housing caseworker that instilled hope in them. They got excited, and for whatever reason, they didn't know how to follow up, or an outreach worker didn't come back to where they're living, or maybe couldn't find them. And that kind of caused them to lose hope and kind of broke the trust they felt in the system.
You just said it's a variety of reasons, like each person has their own story, but common causes of why that ball is being dropped, what would you highlight?
Yeah, well, we know there are a lot of people who get housed every day. I think the biggest issue is we don't have enough housing vouchers or rental assistance opportunities. On top of that, when someone does qualify for assistance, the process to get approved and then move in takes a really, really long time. It can take a year or more. And along the way, maybe people lose their cell phone, they change encampment locations, something breaks within that timeline that makes them lose contact with a caseworker.
One thing that also stuck out to me was your point about even with the influx of federal dollars to get people into rent-assisted units, there is not always, and in this case it seems like recently there hasn't been, an influx of local money to build up caseworkers and build up all the staff surrounding the person who needs the help to make sure that they actually get into that unit successfully. Have you been talking to local officials about that? What's kind of the reaction been to that assessment?
Yeah, so the system is disjointed since the federal government funds vouchers and local government funds outreach workers. And in the most recent budget that was approved for this fiscal year, we do see an increase in outreach workers. We see an increase in outreach workers overall, but specifically people who are going to the streets, that will increase from about 60 people to 80 people. And I guess the question is, will that be enough?
Our thanks again to Nicole Hayden, the Oregonian, and Street Roots for gathering hard data on this. And to that end, we want to point you to this tweet. It came out today. Multnomah County is planning the next what's called point-in-time count. That is the federally mandated count of our area's homeless population. It usually happens every 2 years. This last one was supposed to be last January. It was postponed until now. So the next one is scheduled for later this month, and they need volunteers. So to sign up, go to our social media channels. We posted that link there, or you can go to the county's Twitter page.